Hello everyone, Taylorson here and welcome back to MyRider, where we are just heading off the start ramp for the beginning of a 12-kilometer time trial effort. And before we get to the GC, because that is going to have implications of course on a stage like this, the leaders at the first time check are all time trial heavy guys. And I don't think it's going to be a stage win for any of them as the GC guys come to the fore, because as you can see, it is quite a hilly course. So we're underway, and the two riders we are chasing are Rafał Majka in 16th on GC, who is directly in front of us, and Romain Bardet, who is 17th on GC and is in front of Majka on the road, but of course behind him in the general classification. We are just off screen in 15th place entering this stage, with Pablo Castrillo of Movistar chasing us in 14th on the road. Richard Carapaz is behind him, and I'd say is our main rival. If we can finish ahead of Richard Carapaz in the general classification at the end of this race, then we have done very well indeed. Perhaps we could even sneak into the top 10 with a good time trial, because Ben O'Connor, Simon Yates and Dylan Teuns are all not fantastic on the time trial bike, while Bilbao in 9th, Kelderman in 8th, and to an extent Arensman in 7th are solid time trialists. Ben Healy in 6th, and then we get to the top 5 of Sheffield, Vlasov, McNulty, Van Wilder and Skjelmose, who are all within a minute of each other. Can Skjelmose hold on ahead of Van Wilder and McNulty? That's a narrative to be explored later on in the stage, but we have just crossed the line in 24th place with a relatively competitive time, I think. Let's see how it stacks against everyone else. We are watching Pablo Castrillo, who has just gone through time check 1 in 6th position, 7 seconds behind the leader at that first time check, Stefan Bissegger. But Rafał Majka has also gone through in 8 minutes and 14. Meanwhile, Carapaz is having a poor day. He is down 31 seconds at the first time check in 40th position. He's got a lot of work to do, while Romain Bardet is putting in that work now. Josh Tarling is the benchmark time. He's not going to beat that, but he's going to come close in what is going to be a competitive time for Bardet, but through comes Majka. He's going to absolutely blow Tarling's time out of the water. 33 seconds clear and taking the lead of this stage. 14 minutes and 7 is his time as Noah Peeters comes up towards the line. It is a competitive time from Peeters, the Belgian on Intermarché-Wanty doing his first time trial in vain, and he crosses the line at 33 seconds down in 3rd position on the road. But can Pablo Castrillo beat him to that podium spot? It looks like he will. He crosses the line now and will come through in a time 21 seconds slower than Rafał Majka. Very good time indeed from Pablo Castrillo, and a marker set perhaps for future years, while Richard Carapaz is the man of now, but he is not putting in a good time, and he is trying to limit the losses on this time trial. It could go up to over a minute on Majka. It will do. The clock strikes over a minute, and it's a minute 2 that Carapaz is down. So UAE Team Emirates take the stage win, but was it with McNulty? The answer was no. Rafał Majka on a great day produced the time trial that he needed to get the stage win, and that means that suddenly Noah Peeters' time looks more and more competitive as we go along. Mattias Skjelmose retains the yellow jersey by putting in a good enough time to stave off McNulty, but the gap is very small indeed. We will go to the stage classification first, where Majka is leading the way ahead of Castrillo in 2nd. Great time from him, and Tarling in 3rd, with Noah Peeters very competitive in 4th. But what does all this do for the GC? Well, Skjelmose leads by 12 seconds from Brandon McNulty in 2nd, with Ilan Van Wilder in 3rd, dropping to that 3rd position. We're up to 12th, and is the top 10 on?
Thin out the peloton. However, a bunched finish by the best punchers is not to be excluded, because the line is crossed 10 kilometers after the last summit.
Stage 4 of the Deutschland Tour is underway then, and it's a difficult one on the menu for the riders, but we have different ambitions. Alongside Noah Peeters' GC, we have thrown Gerben Thijssen in the break alongside Laurens Rex. Now Rex is going to go for the King of the Mountains points such as the one at the top of this first climb of the day, and Gerben Thijssen is after the intermediate sprint to try and close in on Alexander Kristoff. Those two are clearly the best sprinters at the race, but with no flat stages left, we're going to have to go for the intermediate points. But we are with two other riders in the breakaway, and those two are going for the King of the Mountains points. Rex is going to try and sprint past them and use his better acceleration to get away from the pair of them, and he does. Across the line he goes for 2 points. Second climb of the day then, and these are not just two domestiques who are destined to fail in this breakaway. These are two very talented riders that are with us. Jonas Abrahamsen needs no introduction whatsoever. Lena Van Eetvelt, pretty much the same UAE Tour stage winner and a Tour de France stage winner, and a very good flat truck alongside a more hilly guy. So this is going to be a very interesting composition of breakaway. We've got a sprinter, a classics guy, a flat truck, and a mountainous or hilly rider. And off goes Van Eetvelt. I expect him to be towards the front for these King of the Mountain sprints, but we've got the acceleration with Rex to try and close him off. We're going to go on the right-hand side of the road. Van Eetvelt exits the draft, but can't quite get past us. It is more points for Laurens Rex on the road at the moment, and we need to make sure that Gerben Thijssen stays in this group for the sprint. And that sprint is coming up now. Look at the gap. 3 minutes and 27 seconds with 51 kilometers to go. Gerben Thijssen's blue bar is looking very good as we enter the sprint point. It should be easy for us to clean up with Abrahamsen and Van Eetvelt. Sprint stats. Off goes Abrahamsen. He is going to be our main rival. Laurens Rex should stick to the pace, but we should have enough pace to get around Abrahamsen comfortably and get to the line. It's going to be a little more difficult than first anticipated, but that was fairly simple in the end with Gerben Thijssen. Easy points for us. And back we go to Laurens Rex, who is our King of the Mountains man, despite being a classic specialist. I love mixing it up on this game and just throwing random guys in the breakaway and going for King of the Mountains. Laurens Rex is one of them, but because it's a hilly race, I genuinely think he could be able to do it. And there is another hill stage after this one, in the final stage of the race, to try and seal that King of the Mountains jersey if we don't get it today. But coming up towards the climbing points then, Van Eetvelt's electing to lead this one out. Hands over to Abrahamsen, and we've got enough red, I think, to take it up from here. Gerben Thijssen's going for it. Van Eetvelt's up our inside. We get squeezed by Van Eetvelt, but we just about get through and crosses the line with Thijssen up front. So that wasn't too great of a performance. We let Thijssen have the points, not deliberately. That was my bad, but let's try and improve on that as we approach the next King of the Mountains point. 28.5 kilometers to go, and the gap is still 2 minutes, so this group is working well together and is contributing fantastically. We're at the inside at the moment of this corner, and we're going to go to the front and press this one on with Laurens Rex. He can now sacrifice himself when he gets over this climb for Gerben Thijssen, but he's got to win the climb first. Off he sprints with Thijssen on the wheel. Let's not make sure that Thijssen takes the points again. He is on our right side as Abrahamsen advances, but he can't get there. And Laurens Rex takes 2 more points. If this group can stay together, we might have a chance at the stage win from the breakaway here. Okay, I might have spoken too soon, because Gerben Thijssen is up front now on his own, and the gap is 30 seconds. All we need to do, I think, is hold the peloton off on this climb. Make sure that Thijssen gets over with the rest of the peloton, because earlier on in the stage, Kristoff was comfortably dropped on the early climbs. So this is a real chance for Thijssen to try and nick a stage win, but more importantly, those green jersey points off Alexander Kristoff, who is clearly on a bad day and will not be contesting this stage. Thijssen has been reeled in by the Cofidis-led peloton, and we'll see whether Thijssen can hold on. 3 kilometers remain of this, the penultimate stage of the Deutschland Tour, and we have a breakaway. 15 seconds is the gap between Diego Alisi and David Gaudu and the peloton. Quinten Hermans is in a chasse patate for Alpecin-de-Koninck in between the peloton and the leaders, but look at that peloton behind. They are chasing these two down, and it looks like it might be goners for them. Can they contribute and work together to try and get to the line first? 1 kilometre to go and Gordou's at the front, but here comes the peloton. The lead-outs are being launched and it's Visma bike on the left-hand side. Matty Brennan's about to go and off he does go. Brennan is launched. Can anybody match him? It looks like not, as Intermarché-Wanty comes through on the side but cannot get there. Here's the overhead shot. Brennan on the left. Perfect lead out in the end. Just about squeezing past the Soudal Quick-Step guys, but Noah Peeters gets onto the wheel. Gerben Thijssen did not have it at the end of the day, and Peeters comes across the line in second place to take bonus seconds. Well, that will be one of the easiest stage wins of Matty Brennan's young career, easily taking the sprint victory from a group of GC riders in the end. We couldn't get Gerben Thijssen to the line, so had to go with the backup option of Noah Peeters, and he was the guy that ran Brennan closest. Gerben Thijssen 46 seconds down, and there is a little split between two groups, with Brennan, Peeters, McNulty, Matthews, Lamperty and Sheffield all gaining 6 seconds on everybody else, which means in the general classification Mattias Skjelmose now only leads by 2 seconds from Brandon McNulty in second and Ilan Van Wilder 21 seconds down in third. Meanwhile, Noah Peeters is moving up the order into the top 10 with that result, and more importantly, in the points classification, 1 point now separates Alexander Kristoff and Gerben Thijssen. It is all down to the Belgians of Thijssen and Peeters in the final stage, but that will be coming in the next episode where we will round off the season. If you enjoyed it, leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new, and there is a playlist link at the end of the video in case you want to see all the episodes or have missed one. Stay safe, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.